One of the gifts that couples give to themselves is actually a ring. And this ring acts as an identification. In the modern times, the lady's name is written on the man's ring, and he carries it around, and the man's name is written on the lady's ring. So since ours is a marriage, there are some gifts that we're going to give, and these gifts are called identifiers. And normally, the other thing that is given when you get married, both of you sign a certificate of marriage. And this certificate, some people, frame it and display it on the wall in their house. Now, as an operator, we have chosen that we identify you when you're on the road. Let's say from the port of Mombasa, coming down to Malaba, right up to Kampala, on to Katuna, up to Kigali, to Akanyaro, up to Bujumbura, if you take that northern corridor. And because we are taking you as a special client, we need to have you identified. Now, we have developed two kinds of identification. The first one is a physical identification that will be placed on the means of conveyance, on the truck. We will choose where to put this. Development is in the advanced stages. We will either approach it from the rear or we can put it at the front, depending on anywhere that we choose to fix it. But the issue here is that it has to be visible. It has to identify you from afar. That if a police officer, wants to flag you for some reason, they should see the identifier and say, oh, this is an AEO. And then what will come to mind is that, how do I deal with this person? Okay? They will all have been informed, by their different organizations on how to deal with AEOs at their different points of operation. We are also thinking of possibly giving you a flag, just in case we agree that flying a flag, is easy and would identify you better. So we are thinking, one, maybe a sticker on your container or on the truck, or we can have a sticker and a flag. Okay? We may develop different colors, possibly depending on the benefits that you have chosen, because we want this to help you to cross the borders very easily as an AO, and also to move on the roads very easily. You all know that when you have these wedding rings, there is a way that you're supposed to wear them. Okay? Number one, there is a specific finger that you wear a wedding ring on. If I am married and tomorrow I wear my wedding ring on another index, that will be a problem. I am sending a different message to my wife. Okay? So we are simply saying that these identifiers, the physical ones, we will have certain rules. If we say we are putting them where the seals are fixed on the container, then they must be fixed there. If we're saying that we are putting them right on the tractor head of the trailer, then it has to be there. Of course, we will agree on this, and information will be passed on to you. That is about the identifier management. I also want us to look at what we call the digital identifier. Now, when you come through Mombasa and your goods are declared to customs in the electronic system then the digital identifier must be visible in the electronic system. Okay? Let's say in the Simba system, in the KRA, you must be visible. When you come to Uganda in the Askuda world, you must be visible. When you come to Rwanda, the same. When you go to Tanzania, to Burundi, the same. And this digital identifier will be given by customs, but it will be the responsibility of your clearing agent, okay, at the port of origin to actually ensure that it is included on what we call the SAD, the Single Administrative Document of Customs. Now, my work was made easier when Madam Shina went through the digital identifier, how it will look like. But just for purposes of emphasis, our digital identifier on the cell will be just like you see it over here. Those of you have good eyes like mine, you will see that we have here EAC, okay, standing for East African Community, stroke AEO, that is a program we are running, stroke P. Now this P is showing that we are running it for the pilot, okay, stroke B. For the case of this, it is B and E. Now, this B and E stands for the benefits that you've chosen. The benefits, actually, we have 5 benefits, okay, that we're piloting. The benefits are from A to E. So, if you have chosen all the benefits, let's say like Bakresa, okay, yours will be A-E. That is, you are enjoying all the benefits, okay? If yours is B, comma E, it means you want to enjoy benefit B and E. And then the last number here definitely is the number that we have given you. Each operator has been given a number from number 1 to number 13 because we have 3 operators in the region. So we will be able to know that 9,000 plastics is moving, Hammer Tiger brand is the one moving. We could possibly make it a lot smarter and say, maybe this is what we're thinking, which we're still developing, and possibly we'll brainstorm along the way and see how that works. We could say that, for example, let's say that benefit A, we give color blue. Benefit B, we give color purple. For example, I'm just giving an example. So that once you see, color purple possibly and green, you know this person is enjoying these 2 benefits. If you see possibly all the 5 colors, okay? For example, if you see black, yellow, red, you know that it's Uganda flag. Okay? That is how it's arranged. I know that Germany also has those 3 colors, but arranged differently. Okay? So that is what we're thinking, which we will possibly have time to brainstorm and see. Ladies and gentlemen, these gears must be protected from misuse because you know that there are those who are not as compliant as you are, but may want to take advantage. So once you're given this customs gear, you will have to ensure that you keep them against theft and destruction of any sort. But just in the event that anything happens, the customer relationship managers are there to always help you. Thank you very much for listening to me.
I think on that note, I really would like the wife, the operator, or is it the husband, to really give a clap to customs for that. Bringing out that regional integration, you can see that we are confident that each of us, the 5 of us, can actually make it. And this is the reality, the real reality of regional. We will now start, after that we will go specific, operator by operator, by country. So any questions now? So request the customs group to prepare. And again we'll start from the top. Burundi will start with its operators.
it is indeed a manifestation of the commitment to the marriage, and I want to congratulate you on that. Of course, there's a lot of improvement. There's no doubt about customs administration within the EAC compared to the years where we're coming from. However, you find that there is a disparity between the initiative you have as a team at this level and on the ground at the operations station. And this brings me to one major proposal that you really need to incorporate in the program. You need, I think, to highlight or specify some strategies of sensitization at the operational level. Because right now, I think when I look at Patrick's presentation, bringing in the identifiers, I'm imagining how complicated it is going to be for a policeman on the road to see this identifier and work out what it means, unless this guy and the teams at the operational stations are brought together and sensitized and bought into the program. They have to buy into the whole program so that they can support it. And I think that is it has to become a critical part of the whole implementation program in the next stage of piloting. Because I know that in the past, that's where I've been having issues. You are telling somebody that CPC and is looking at you, what are you talking about? And indeed, perhaps he doesn't even know what this EAC program is all about. Now, the issue of identifier, I am happy that first of all now we are discussing an identifier. But I'm just looking at the complication of logistics business and the concept that of outsourcing, like I think one of the person had asked. It's now becoming more clear in my mind why I was asking the transfer of responsibility when I outsource. And of course, the issue of both the electronic identifier, or whatever Patrick named it, and the physical identifier. Practically in logistics, I just want to give you a scenario, because I believe at this point we are going to discuss further on the issue of identifier, because if you ask me, I would wish to reach Kampala and I'm seeing an identifier in the system. So that is how urgent we need it. But I think it's becoming even a little bit more complicated, because I'm looking at a transaction of an importer, Nice House of Plastics, who is an AE operator, but he has contracted SPEDAC, who is an AE operator. But SPEDAC is going to, of course, to somehow, he may want to outsource the transporter. Though he's an AEO operator in all aspects, but the capacities may demand that I have to outsource a transporter who is going to carry. I want to bring the worst scenario, because of course I know the ideal is that we must all, which will be the future, we must all be matching. But I want to see in the pilot stage. And he has to outsource the transporter who is not. And this identifier is supposed to be on the truck. But this truck does not belong to, so it's becoming a little bit complicated. However, I think for uniformity purpose, perhaps we'd look at the container, because we're looking at these woods belonging to Nice House of Plastics. So perhaps the physical identifier should be on the container, not on the operator, because like I said, it's going to be a little bit complicated because of the outsourcing concept that we use in logistics business. Now, I also have a question. Those were my observations. I have a question. It's becoming more clear when we're discussing identifier how it is going to match or relate to the benefits we may have filled in our form. The questionnaire we filled, trying to specialize or specify exactly what facilitation do we want in relation to the benefits. So at this point, I'm asking, wondering, is it possible for us to make changes or update those benefits so that now, when we are designing the identifier, it's relevant to what we are talking about, because it's becoming more clear that now than perhaps at the time we were filling the questionnaire. Thank you.
So let's not mix that up. And of course, we are working together to get the appropriate place to be able to attach the physical one. But actually, the digital naturally should come on the side. Yeah, it should be part of where we shall enter it with the side. So, more or less, this should be your identifier. You are the operator. The operator, because you are responsible for it. And therefore, you know, we are kind of saying that the wife is in charge of the kitchen. Even if I want to come in there and do something in the kitchen, I must talk to the wife. So, the wife is taking care of this identifier that has been given to her. And she's responsible for it. That brings me to that point of saying that if the wife decides to get a maid, but I sit at the table and will have to eat that food, I won't go to the maid. I should ask the wife, what happened to the food? That's why you can see that in the pilot we are saying, in our first months of marriage, please honey, cook the food. Let's see how we cook it. How I bring it and you cook it and take care of it. But when we quickly finish the first few months, which is the rollout, we should be able to say, okay, we are back on the table now. And really, the wife has done a great job. She's got these capacities. She can actually talk to a maid and treat her or train her in the ways of how she would want it to happen on the table or in the kitchen. But again, the risk is on the wife. Do you see what we're trying to say here? That's why we really want to transport her again. Who am I choosing to help me with this duty? Because it's still your responsibility. On the note of the second issue that you brought up, I think I will give that to attention.
You will agree with me that we have moved a long journey over the years as customs. In all the countries, by the way, customs problems, everywhere you go, you will find same problems. I was sharing with the team when I visited Sweden, Matt's home. We had a presentation from someone from Finland who was showing us the situation at the Finnish-Russian border. How trucks line up for 10 kilometers and just customs officers are seated and saying, well, the ink has got finished in the printer. I can't process you. And if you don't understand what the ink means, you will see someone who is in the 100th truck in the line comes and goes through, and you get stuck literally for a week. So you might be thinking that the situation is bad in the EAC, but you need to ask and actually get to experience that. Some of the regions have not reached where we are. Even some of those we think are there, they are not there. What you have mentioned is actually an issue of change. Change within the mindset of the staff. As customs, you are talking of the C21, the customs in the business in the 21st century, customs to business partnerships. There is no country that can accept an administration to behave the way it used to work. The moment we do that, then we are not doing nation building as a country. So our responsibility as a customs management, what we have tried to do is to train the staff sensitize the staff. But as you mentioned, it's a journey. You will get one or two overzealous enforcement officers asking questions, but it's a journey we are moving. In URA, we have trained about 70% of the staff, and in the next 1 week, we should be completing the 250 staff that have not been trained on AO. But if you see the debate that is there between the teams, those who are being trained and those who are training, you can see that it's a journey that we have to move. But it has to be done. I'm sure the same situation happens in Kenya, in Rwanda. So it's an issue of change management which we are working on behind closed doors, and we shall get there. So what I can promise is that at the top, if you saw the minister's message, then it comes to us now. We also get affected. You know, you are bringing in sugar. It might be to bribe voters. You don't have capacity. So we cannot use that knockout action like Zambia does to our brother in Kenya. So what we do, we have a lot of negotiation. But of course, the protocol provides for the principle of reciprocity. So the small scratch that was done is basically to stimulate those who are probably behind the moves to come to the dialogue and discuss the problems as brothers and sisters. So indeed, we have this problem. We all know that sometimes people are crying about Mombasa. They are crying about some of the delays. And we look at the southern route like the NPM nation. But all these, however much we have these small fights, at the end of the day, we still have to sit in a dialogue like this one. All these changes you see, this one being the particular one, it has a political blessing at all levels. That's why we are here. We started from somewhere. It's not something that Sheila picked and then we started. No, it has a backing from somewhere. And so there is commitment. But it's a journey we have to work. We shall have potholes, but ultimately we shall reach there. So I'd like to encourage my sister that those small problems will happen. I will not promise they will not happen, but there are mechanisms within which they are resolved. Some are policy, others are political, others are technical. There is much we can do as a revenue authority, and there is much we pass on to government. You know the problems we have with cash bond. We did fight, we did go to war, but there are small minor disruptions that will come back. The spirit of integration will always remain.
Okay. I really would like to move. I don't know, we were talking before the observation came in. So we're giving us the time. What time is it now? It's 1 o'clock. So we have 30 minutes. This 30 minutes. At this point, we would like now to move on with this document. And what is going to happen now is that the same document, but now we're looking at each of you as the operator. The customs representative will let you know, or will present, for example, Burundi now. We will hear from Burundi. I think we have Mustafa. No, that's the Mr. Stanilas? Okay, we're going to look at Mr. Stanilas now. Now, the spirit here again is a regional one. If you are the operators for the region, the selected one, it means the one team. So it is very important that you know about Stanilas' company. You know the benefits be picked up. You know the commodities in or out. So then you are a stronger team. This is a beginning for you as well to build the team that you should be. And ultimately, it is also what you are learning, what is expected of you, or your role in the office. So can we do this in at least 30 minutes? Can we have Burundi? Burundi has 3 companies. We have etc. But I'm sure the lady in charge will let us know which. I think you're starting with priority? Okay, start with priority. So again, the same document, but now we are moving forward. The other area was the generic one. That one applies to all of us. Now when we move forward, we are talking about the specific areas about gravity.
I want first. I think you have listed all the commodities, and if there is something which is not there, standing from Rowdy may just bring his input. Priority, they have a mart, healthcare, sugar, empty bottles, concentrate of various soft drink, caustic soda, bottles, crowns, rubbers, machinery and spare parts. Of course, there are some chemicals products which is involved in supply chain production. Baruti have chosen as a benefit procurers and the local clearance. Definition is the follows. This is a customs process that facilitates document preparation, clearance and release prior to arrival of goods. The facilities linked to the procurance benefit are the follows: periodic application, flexibility in lodging declaration, time and place, online payment before first point of entry to EAC. At final destination, payment and the goods released at final destination. These are facilities linked to procurance benefit. The second one has been benefit is local clearance. Local clearance is a benefit whereby revenue authorities allows an authorized trader to carry out his or her import formalities at owner's premise and designated place. The facilities linked to local clearance are release of goods at owner's premises, simplified and supplementary declarations, self-clearance, release before payment, goods under customs control without immediate declaration, notification in the bookkeeping is simplified customs declaration, notification to customs, periodic supplementary declarations, self-release. For local clearance, I may note that it's enjoyed on application and approval from customs, and it's also applied to goods without import duty and VAT taxes. Prior control if needed. It means that if any AO cargo has been picked for control, physical control, they may enjoy prior treatment. Notification of customs control. Customs controls at owners' premises, if possible. Faster release, low risk score, fewer customs controls, access to customs and customs information. It means that AO will be informed by customs and they will still have the right to collaborate with the customs. Manager of EAC issues, and at the site of OBR we have EAO Center, Client Relation Management. We have Ansila Neturier, National Project Manager and Head of Program Service. We have also myself, Juliet Katihabga, Transit Unity Coordinator. Thank you for your attention, and I'm still waiting for the reaction from Mr. Stanley from Brody.
All our needs or our materials to be included in the program or not? I think yes. If yes, I can go on with my comments. If no, then I
Just be clear.
it's because, of course, we list what is listed in the product, listed products. We have the main ones, but there is one point which is a little bit not clear: the chemical products, which you were. Yes. Point number 10. You know, we are Brody is an industrial company. We use a lot of products. We have. I feel the list must be around 50. All the list. It means that on the point 10, it is possible to. I have all the details to earn time for each one. But those are the main one we discussed before. We discussed before we should. I will read items. Thank you.
Of course, like you actually gave us the answer, these are the ones we can manage. Of course, there are very many other products that you could be dealing in, okay? But then I think these ones with consultation, these are the ones you agreed. And for the pilot, these will be the ones. But if you are thinking about others, like we say, just like the pilot sites, like the other maybe areas we want to test, they will definitely come after the pilot. Unless you're seeing something that is so key that Juliet left out, which you discussed. Meaning that the choice that you would have to make for the benefit. So the work that needs to be done, the area of responsibility for clearance lies on your part as Suditra, so that he gets the benefit of pre-clearance. That's not the question.
You do not like to work with me.
That's a good one. Discussion on the companies for voting. Okay?
enjoyed your lunch. I'll try as much as possible not to be boring. No problem. I may risk to get making you sleep. And I'll take you through Aqua Tiger brand, as I was selected operator to run in the regional program. First, just a background information. This is a company that is currently in the national program. And just to give the identifier, I think I've just projected the identifier. That's what the identifier will look like. I don't want to run to a risk of discussing this identifier because there's a whole session to discuss the identifier, the physical and the digital one. Aqua Tiger Brand is a company that is with the fast-moving consumer goods, and they do a lot of manufacturing and do export these particular products. So